Going live, going
We're
live.
live. Should we? I didn't put it on the agenda, but should we sing a little song? How do you feel?
Oh, no.
No.
We're going live, and I just wanted to say, El Puppy is already here, ready with a joke. I appreciate that.
El Puppy, you give us reason to believe.
What do you give a sick lemon?
Looked. What do you give a sick lemon? A sour expression, a sour look, a bitter, a bitter tirade, a zesty McEvers.
Please, I want to get a zesty McEvers when I get sick.
Okay.
Whatever that is.
What is the actual answer to the joke?
Lemonade.
Lemonade. Oh, instead of first aid, lemonade.
Yes.
El Puppy, where would we be without you? This show would be so unfunny. Thank you. I want to get right to it.
All right.
Okay.
You wanted to sing before.
Well, I did, but that was before El Puppy delighted us with that.
Passed.
So Zesty McEvers?
Zesty.
All right. I'll see if I can make that a character in a book at some point. Okay. So, update on Robbie's well-being. You guys, I'm not doing the agenda well today. Robbie's frustrated with my...
You just have to point it at the camera. There.
Update on Robbie's well-being.
He's pointing it over to the corner.
As you know, Robbie's been feeling a little peaked lately because she's been drawing many illustrations all night long, all day long, all the middle of the day long, all the wee hours long.
Yes.
What happened? Robbie finished. We congratulated her yesterday. But then we went on a hike.
Yes.
We went for, we had dinner.
Yes.
Robbie said, I'm going to go lie down for a minute. And then, friends, I didn't see her for 16 hours. She was over there. I was worried I was going to come over and poke her with the stick, but she woke up right before the live cast. Thank goodness.
But you know what? I probably could have slept another few hours, but Matthew did say, how much time do you need to prepare before the live cast?
That's right.
And so I.
But you know what, friends? I would have done it without you. It just wouldn't have been as good. All right?
That is correct.
That's true.
That is not hyperbole.
No.
Which is something that we learned about in the previous.
Do you know how hard it would be to just do this by ourselves?
Yes.
I'm
so glad.
It's so much easier to do things with other people. All right,
Yeah.
we'll talk about collaboration.
Yes.
One of these days, we're going to give you our little dog and pony show about collaboration.
Yeah, some of you have already seen it.
Not today.
Hi, Conrad and Becca. Hi, Kylie.
Hi, guys. All right.
Thanks for coming back.
Here we go. Update on Matthew's hat situation. You guys,
it's a new hat.
The other day when I stole Robbie's genius hat and claimed it for my own, I did something with my hat, and I think the universe is punishing me for my act of treachery and stealing, but I don't know where my hat is. I can't find my... What's going on? What's that?
You just have to look around.
Oh my gosh. All right, avert your eyes for a second while I take off this hat and put on the other hat. Wait, maybe I can do it real fast.
Oh, well done.
All right.
I don't even think in slow-mo you probably wouldn't have even seen your head.
If somebody wants to slow-mo it and get a screen capture of the... Now that Robbie finished her project, I might get a haircut.
Yay!
I don't ever go to the barber shop. I go to the Robbie shop.
Yeah.
You can also get hubcaps at the Robbie shop and slushies.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. All right. None of those things are true.
Well,
basically, this show is a string of lies, and we apologize not very much.
I do cut your hair. That's not a lie.
Shout out to Zoe and Max.
Oh.
I got such a nice email
Yes.
from the mom of Zoe and Max, our friends in Seattle. Nice to talk to you guys. Thank you for joining us from way across the country.
Yes.
Thank you for spending your mornings with us,
because of
not
the
your
time
afternoons.
difference.
It means a lot that friends from all over are joining us here.
Yes.
Anyway, thank you. It's all of you. I mean, you all get a shout out, but
Puppy.
What?
El Puppy is wondering if we're on.
Oh no!
He's still loading. It says we have excellent.
It says excellent connection.
So hopefully,
El Puppy, that might be an El Puppy problem.
Please wave to us and let us know that you are seeing us.
Let us know if there's any problems.
Not that we can do anything about it.
No, we can't. We are.
You
know what? Robbie's ordered a new router.
I have.
And we're hoping that will make the connection even more robust.
Yes.
All right, moving on. Look at this. I'm getting better, Robbie.
No, you aren't. What are you doing?
Oh.
Turn your
you just want it to be closer?
Even.
Do you hear that snippety-snappity attitude? I'm maintaining a completely pleasant demeanor while Robbie attempts to make me feel less than self-actualized.
I just feel like I've said it a number of times
I want
already.
you to take over the agendaing. I am going to take up this copy of The Real McCoys. Oh, look at that. Chapter 9, all of it. None of this half-chaptering.
Because it's a short
No, it's not. It's because I'm reasserting my authorial... I wish I could say.
We got a high back from Zoe and Max.
All right, and mine is fine now, says L.
Excellent.
Thank you, L.
Excellent.
All right. Oh, good. All right, thank you. You people in Seattle. What do we have?
There's people sad about the chicken hat.
The chicken hat is very special. You get it every once in a while. If you gave it to you all the time, it would lose its meaning and specialness. Don't ask for it. It's like the tooth fairy. If the tooth fairy came every day, even when you didn't lose a tooth, you'd be like, "What up, tooth? TF? I don't have a tooth for you today." And the tooth fairy's just sitting there on the counter, tapping the toothy foot.
I think nobody would be upset if the tooth fairy just dropped.
It's magical when the tooth fairy.
every time the Tooth Fairy came by.
But we're not saying the Tooth Fairy will drop coin every time. Just like the chicken hat will not delight you if we numb your senses to it by showing it too often.
There
need
must
to
be a
wait.
word for that.
To what?
Overexposure.
You become inured to
Yes,
something.
inured.
That is the word. Inured. We're always going to teach you vocabulary here because we value it and we want your brains to be all the more magnificent.
We want you to be able to better communicate what's going on inside your brains. That's what we're
And we want you to be able to better perceive the world around you in all its dizzying complexity.
Wow.
The world is dizzyingly complex, including the intermittent nature of the Tooth Fairy's appearances in your life, corresponding only with the loss of teeth.
Yes.
There's order in the world, Robbie. The chicken hat will only come out when we need it to.
It's frankly all about commercial exchange.
What?
The Tooth Fairy's
All
arrival.
right, well, there's nothing commercial about the chicken hat. It's about delight in moments where delight is needed.
All right.
That's what we all need right now,
Yes.
is a little delight.
Yes.
Can I read this chapter in its entirety,
My God.
please?
Everybody is very anxious for us to get to it.
My goodness.
Here we go.
All right.
Here we go.
Oh, that's the last page of
that's
the
the
last
last
chapter.
There we go.
All right. Chapter 9. The Enemy of Progress. When I get to Principal Jones's office, Mrs. Breath is bent over in her computer, typing so fast and so loud that I wonder if she's trying to win some kind of prize, or maybe to drill through the center of the planet. I stand there for a moment, trying to get her attention. Then I make a few loud coughs. And when that doesn't work, I fake a sneeze. But she still does not look up, so I just say it. I need to see Principal Jones. Mrs. Breath looks up. You know what? Did we read the second half of... Oh, yeah, we did. I forgot. We left the cafeteria, and she headed to the office.
Yes.
I just forgot where we were in the book. Okay. So I just say it. I need to see Principal Jones. Mrs. Breath looks up. Excuse me, she says. She looks at me as if she just spotted a herd of wildebeest in the girls' bathroom. Principal Jones, I say again. I have something important to tell her. Mrs. Breath gives me a horrible smile. I'm sorry, she says, although she definitely isn't. Principal Jones is busy right now. I assume that someone or the other is treading water in the eel tank at this exact moment, and that Principal Jones needs to finish up before she can talk to me. I'll wait, I say, sitting down on the extremely uncomfortable bench. You will not wait. Mrs. Breath stands up to show me how tall she is, which doesn't work very well, since she's basically the shortest adult I have ever seen in my entire life. Get back to class this instant! It is clear that spending any more time in the same room as Mrs. Breath is not going to be good for my health. So I leave. I think about how strange it is that when kids don't want to see the principal, they get sent to the principal. But when they really need to see the principal, it's impossible to actually do it. And then I have an idea. The perfect idea. I run back to class as fast as I can. I have learned from Annabelle Adams that sometimes you have to do the exact opposite of what common sense suggests. In Volume 15, The Harder They Fall, Annabelle plays dead to survive an encounter with an angry hot dog vendor. And in Volume 30, The Better to See You With, Annabelle disguises herself as a blind fortune teller so she can sneak into the secret chamber where the riddle of the 7 horsemen is written on the walls. I know what I want, but I cannot get it directly. Fortunately, there is another way. I return to Mrs. Bunyan's classroom just as everyone else is settling in for an exciting lecture on single-stream recycling. But instead of sitting down at my desk, I run right up to Mrs. Bunyan and give her a hug. A big, enthusiastic, long, gosh, I really love you kind of super hug. It's just about the last thing in the world that I want to do, but I need to lose an Al point as quickly as I can. And the hug has exactly the effect I'm hoping for. First, Mrs. Bunyan turns white, then bright pink, then the deepest red. She is so surprised that she can't even speak. The class is amazed and also terrified. Eventually, Mrs. Bunyan finds her voice, and when it comes out, it is not quiet. To the principal's office! If I must, I say, grabbing the bowling pin, and running back down the hallway as fast as I can. I sprint right past Mr. Davies, the third-grade teacher, who yells for me to stop! But I don't even slow down. What is she going to do? Send me to the principal's office?
That was Mrs. Davies,
I know.
by the way.
I'm just struggling a little bit.
You didn't have 16 hours of sleep.
No, I did not.
Like I did.
I did not. I burst back into the main office, and there is Mrs. Breath. She opens her mouth, but before she can say whatever awful thing has just popped into her head, I show her the bowling pin, and all the wind goes out of her. She looks at me as if she were a hungry tiger, and I were a juicy steak on the other side of a thick glass wall. She pushes a button on her phone. Moxie McCoy has been sent to see you. I hear the exasperated voice of Principal Jones. Send her in. A moment later, I'm sitting on Principal Jones's bench. She does not look happy to see me. What did you do? She asks. Oh, I didn't actually get in trouble, I say. It looks like you did, she says, gesturing to the bowling pin. Yes, but I only got in trouble on purpose, I say. I needed to see you right away. Principal Jones raises one of her eyebrows, just one. I'm extremely jealous. I've been practicing for years and cannot do it. And why is that? Says Principal Jones. To discuss the case, I say. I know who took Eddie. Principal Jones sits back in her chair and lets out a sigh. She looks skeptical at best, but I can tell that there is just a glimmer of hope in her eye. She knows that Tiddlywump Elementary is basically nothing without our beloved mascot. And you have solid evidence this time, she says. Absolutely, I say. Before you speak, she says, it is very important that you do not accuse someone of stealing Eddie unless you are entirely certain. I hope you've learned your lesson. Oh, I have, I say. I want you to be so certain that there is no room for doubt. I think of what Annabelle Adams always says in situations like this. Perfection is the enemy of progress. And what she means is that the world is so strange and confusing and unpredictable that you can never be 100% certain about anything, but that you must always do your best to get as close to the truth as you can, which is why I always try to do it at every moment. But I'm pretty sure that Principal Jones hasn't read the entire Annabelle Adams series 37.5 times. No doubt at all, I say. All right, she says, sitting straight up in her chair, folding her arms and breathing just a little bit of fire to let me know there's way more where that came from. Who do you think stole Eddie? This time, instead of starting by giving Principal Jones the name of the crook, I build my case by laying out the evidence. First of all, the criminal, the suspect, she reminds me. Of course she is right. Leon is not technically a criminal until he is proven to be a criminal, which is just about to happen. First of all, the suspect has greasy fingers because he puts on lip balm using his thumb, which is why he left a greasy thumbprint on Eddie's case. I see, says Principal Jones, who is obviously not yet convinced. Go on. But more important, the suspect dropped this pencil, that pencil, right by Eddie's case in the middle of committing the crime. I say, pointing to the pencil on Principal Jones's desk. This pencil? Says Principal Jones, picking up the chewed-up purple pencil from her desk. That pencil, I say. What do you know about this pencil? She asks. I explain that I overheard her conversation with Mr. Hammer and that my keen detective sense tells me the pencil almost certainly belongs to the person who nabbed Eddie. Eavesdropping is a serious offense, she tells me. I definitely wasn't eavesdropping, I say. I was just collecting evidence. Principal Jones sort of, halfway, but not quite, smiles again. And what does the pencil have to do with Eddie? It belongs to the owl thief who dropped it near Eddie's case while committing the crime. I pause for a moment to build suspense. It belongs to Leon Magruder. I say this the way a magician might say, aha, when he pulls back his handkerchief and the rabbit has suddenly appeared in his hat. But Principal Jones does not seem to be amazed. I'm afraid you don't have any actual evidence, she says. Well, what about the pencil, I say? What makes you so sure that this is Leon's pencil? Because of the bite marks, I say. Leon does that to all of his pencils. I am suddenly sorry that I did not grab the rest of Leon's pencils when I had a chance. I could have compared the bite marks and collected the DNA. Like this? Says Principal Jones. She picks up a yellow pencil and puts it sideways in her mouth. Then she bites it over and over again. Within a few seconds, it looks just as chewed up as Leon's pencil. I see your point, I say. But Mr. Hammer found a purple pencil, which is exactly the color of the pencil that was missing from Leon's set. Principal Jones opened her desk drawer and pulls out a small, flat box. Inside the box are 8 brand new purple pencils. I say. Can you be absolutely sure that Leon did this, she asks. My first thought is that perhaps Principal Jones is the one who stole Eddie. But my second thought is that this is a ridiculous thought. My third thought is that I know in my gut that the pencil belongs to Leon. It is without a doubt the pencil that was missing from his set. I guess I can't prove for sure that Leon is the one who dropped the pencil near Eddie's case, but who else would have? Who else could have? I can be almost absolutely sure, I say. Well, says Principal Jones, I am absolutely sure that Leon did not take Eddie. Why, I ask, because it seems literally impossible that Leon is not the culprit. As a punishment for being disruptive during class, I asked Leon to help Mr. Hammer set up chairs for the assembly, which he was still doing when I discovered that Eddie was missing. Oh, I say, suddenly as confused as I have ever been. I want to ask whether the setting up chairs part happened before or after the more awful and interesting forms of punishment, but it seems like the wrong time. Just then Principal Jones' phone makes the beeping sound again. I brace myself as the voice of Mrs. Breath fills the room. "He's here." Principal Jones presses the button on her phone. "Thank you. We'll be done in just a minute," she says without taking her eyes off me. Principal Jones looks at me with a stare so deep and long, it feels like she's trying to memorize my insides. "Tell me about your brother," she says. "My brother?" "Yes, Milton. What can you tell me about him?" "Well, he's kind of short, but his head is really huge," I say. "What else? What kind of person is he?" I've never thought much about that, so I'm not sure what to say. But it's clear that Principal Jones is waiting for an answer, so I do my best. "Well, he's very smart, and he pays attention to everything. The stuff that normal people miss, Milton sees." "Does he get into trouble at home?" "Never. He'd never break a rule." "Does he tell the truth?" "Always." "That sounds like you're pretty lucky to have a brother like that," she says with a kind, wise look that makes me suspect she's probably not just a principal, but also somebody's mom. I sit there for a second and let her words sink in. It had never occurred to me until this moment, but she's right. I am lucky to have a brother like Milton. An instant later, Principal Jones switches back to full-on principal mode. "Let me make myself perfectly clear. You are not to spend another moment on this case," she tells me, saying case as if my case were a bag of fish heads that she is setting by the curb. "I will figure out who took Eddie, and you will focus on being a fourth grader." I know that Principal Jones is just saying this because it's the sort of thing that a principal has to say, and that she is only speaking this loudly because she wants to impress Mrs. Breath and whatever kids are sitting on the bench outside her office. I am a trained detective. She is just a principal who lacks the skills and experience required for a case of this magnitude. But she has to protect her reputation. "Do you understand me?" "Of course," I say. "Thank you for your assistance." "Excuse me," she says. She's doing a really good job of pretending to be angry with me. It's what makes her such an outstanding principal. "I think I'll go back to class now," I say. "I think that's an excellent idea," she says. "And do not forget what I said." She looks at me as if she's a bow and arrow, and I'm the circle in the center of the target. "Principal Jones," I say, "could you please remember to yell at me a little as I leave the office?" "And what is it that you think I've been doing for the last 5 minutes?" "That was perfect," I say, as I slip out the door. There on the bench, directly across from Mrs. Breath's desk, is a kid who sort of halfway looks like Milton. I almost walk by, but then I look again and can't believe my eyes. It is Milton. "What are you doing here?" I ask. Seeing him there is like seeing a snowman on the sun. "Mr. Brightenhouse said Principal Jones wanted to talk to me, so here I am." Milton is trying to put on a good face, but I can tell he's worried. "What did you do?" I ask, trying to make sense of it. "I have no idea." "It's none of your concern," says Mrs. Breath, practically gloating as she hands me a hall pass and points to the door. "Get back to class this instant." I reach over and squeeze Milton's hand. "It's going to be okay, whatever it is." He nods back to me. He's never looked so sad and small. "Back to class!" roars Mrs. Breath. I go. I fear for our safety if I don't. I glance over my shoulder just as Milton disappears into Principal Jones's office. As I walk back to Mrs. Bunyan's classroom, my mind is spinning. My beloved mascot is missing. My best friend is not here when I need her most. And now my defenseless little brother is walking into the lion's den. I do my best not to panic, but I can't shake the feeling that this bad day just got so much worse. Whoa.
The end of chapter 9.
You guys feel right now a sense of satisfaction that you haven't felt in 5 days. And that is because this is the first time in 5 days that we've read an entire chapter to you. I want to point out that feeling spreading throughout you of having been carefully held by the writer's expert sentences,
goodness.
structure from the beginning of the chapter all the way to the end. Uh-oh, what's happening
That's okay.
here? Oh.
You were supposed to ignore that.
Oh, I thought maybe you were going to show them something to rebut my
I'm
point.
going to show.
What? Go
not
ahead.
To rebut your
What
point.
would you like to show them?
There were a couple things.
All right.
El Puppy pointed out
Yes,
the picture of the wildebeest in the bathroom, which is also one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Because I would never have an opportunity to draw wildebeests sitting on the toilet.
Because in the real life world, wildebeest don't use the bathroom, as far as we know. I've never seen that happen. I've never heard of it happening. I feel like if it had happened, it would be on YouTube, and we all would be familiar with it.
There it is.
There it is. So let's see it.
I mean, I just love this one. The door swings open, and it's like, help!
Well,
wildebeest.
I mean, that's how anybody would feel if they got walked in on in the bathroom, right?
Yeah,
Wildebeests
right?
are no exception to
Yeah.
this rule. They're just like the rest of us.
Another question El Puppy had was
Okay, yes.
in the scene where Moxie is pleading her case, right? She's trying to explain to Principal Jones. Here we go. So Principal Jones is now a judge,
Right.
Right? She's in a courtroom, and it looks like Moxie's wearing pajamas. She's actually wearing a suit, and she's got her briefcase, and she's being a lawyer presenting the case to the judge. All right. So I do often draw Moxie's pajamas as pinstripe pajamas. So I see that that's confusing now. But there you go.
Can I point out an observation by one of our readers that's so incisive that I think they must be listening very carefully?
Oh.
You are handsome, Matthew. I wanted to put that out there. I do like that.
Wait, I wanted to explain
go ahead.
one more thing.
Yes,
This
okay.
one. Now, this is something that I feel like I made a funny joke here.
I love it.
But it's not a joke necessarily that anybody is...
What? No, just tell them.
So
yeah.
the joke is this. So Annabelle Adams says, perfection is the enemy of progress.
Right.
And she's working on a sculpture here. And you see that she's chipping away at the sculpture, and she chips away, and the arm of the sculpture is falling off. So this is actually a famous sculpture called the Venus de Milo. And it's an ancient, I think it's Roman sculpture, because maybe it's Greek. Ooh,
It's Roman.
I
It's
should
Roman.
know this.
Well,
It's Roman.
I mean,
Okay.
I saw it in Rome.
Okay.
I think. Tell me if we're wrong.
Well, yes,
Okay.
I think it's Roman.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's considered one of the most beautiful sculptures of the human form, but the arms, she doesn't have arms, and it's because we assume that over the course of long history, the arms got broken off somehow. They fell off, right? But what I thought was funny is if the sculpture actually had arms originally, and the sculptor was working on it, and then the arms fell off, and the sculptor was like, you know what, I'm not gonna let this stop me. I'm just gonna put this in the art show, or give it to whoever the person
I love
was.
the idea of the Venus de Milo being created for an art show. I just like a district art show or like a 4-H art show
Right?
or something. Yeah.
I think it was some sort of municipal city something. I don't
Yeah.
know. But anyway, I just
case.
thought it would be funny if the sculptor who made the Venus de Milo was just like made a mistake instead of us assuming that the arms fell off over the course of time.
Can we visit a few reader comments here?
Yes.
What is your favorite Real McCoys book? Asked Thomas. My favorite Real McCoys book is Volume 3, Wonder Undercover. And I think, it's the third one. It's Robbie and I get better every time we make a new book.
we
I feel
do.
it has the best story. I feel like it has the best illustrations. I feel like also if there are never any more Real McCoys books, it does a nice job of sort of telling a 3-book story. Even though each story is its own deal, I like
has a
the
good
way
arc.
it has a good
Yeah.
arc, which is why we say sort of if an arc is like this, it's like a rainbow. So if this is book 1 and this is book 2, I feel like book 3 brings us sort of full circle.
It makes it seem like it goes back down again, but I
Right.
think it means that it's tying it up neatly.
It ties it. Something happens at the end of book 3, and we'll get there together, my
Yeah.
friends.
Yeah, we're gonna
that
read
we
that
think
one.
is a satisfying
Yeah.
ending. So we'll
All
see. Oh no, El Puppy is a little confused.
So much hyperbole.
Robbie is amazing. Ish, No, Robbie's the best El Puppy. You're
I
great.
have my moments, but I'm also not
Oh,
amazing.
Robbie's the most beautiful person
Oh,
I've ever
my
seen.
goodness.
Matthew's the most. What? No, what?
Okay, so
Enough with this flattery, my friends.
everyone needs
Yes.
everyone needs to calm down.
I mean, you're making us feel very good about ourselves. All right.
More demands.
We have
Oh,
some.
what
we
is the
are,
chicken hat?
We are
Puppy
team
must have
read
missed
a
it.
whole chapter at a time. Thank you. You know what,
Oh,
friends? We're going to read a
boo.
whole chapter when we can without putting you all to sleep from reading too much in one session.
Yeah.
So let's return to the agenda,
the
shall we?
agenda.
Robbie, official holder of the agenda, sanctioned agenda holder. Robbie shows you what?
Robbie shows you a blast from the past.
We have found
Oh.
Robbie's dad dropped off some reading material for our kids to read while they're not in school.
So my bedroom. So my dad lives up the street in the house that I grew up in.
You only have 5 minutes.
My bedroom is this exact same as it has been since I was in high school.
Yeah.
So my parents were nice and they didn't change my room at all.
Yeah.
My dad found this.
What is it, Robbie?
I apparently cared enough about this drawing to frame it back in 1990 when I was in high school.
Yeah, look at that.
I was drawing cool dudes. This is who I thought I was going to end up marrying, you guys.
So, what do you think?
Oh, how life changed.
Okay, so Robbie, I have an assignment for you.
Yes.
The next item on the agenda, if you want to show it, is an assignment that's going to make you mad, but you're going to do it anyway. It is, Robbie shows you how she would draw the same thing differently now that she has found her style. So I want you to look at this, okay?
A cool guy with...
Yep, so draw for our friends this cool guy, but in Robbie Bear's new style, okay? Show us what it looks like. Robbie accepted that challenge more readily than I thought she was going to. I thought I was going to get more complaining.
In these times
do you guys think that Robbie should write the agenda one of these days? If you think so,
no,
comment.
I don't want that responsibility.
I want Robbie I want to see what a Robbie agenda looks like. We have someone saying, wow, liking that 1990s image. Well, Robbie sure liked it at the time.
It's so 90s.
She thought it was dreamy. All right, you guys. Do you need to see this, Robbie, or have you imprinted in your head?
I mean, I think I'm drawing a cool guy, right?
Well, this guy has a cross around his neck. I want to make sure you saw that. And he has a garment with, like, unnecessary buttons on it. I think that's something in the 90s. You can also see one of his eyes because his hair is so cool.
I know. Oops, I should have... Yeah, sorry.
Well, there's no apologies. There's really no way to do this wrong. But, all right, let's see.
Oh, and he's got, like, spiky hair at the top, right?
Yes. All right. There. Oh, can we do this 365 days a year, says C. Albright. We are loving this, C. Albright, and we're just going to have to play it by ear.
I'm going to give him like a septum ring.
Okay. A what ring? Septum?
That's what the cool dudes have now.
What is a septum?
Isn't that what it's called? The thing in the middle of your nostrils?
Wow, that's a word I'm not familiar with. I'm going to look up the word septum. The last story hour, you guys, before we did McCoy's time, was...
McCoy's?
Oh my gosh. So Robbie slept for 16 hours. I slept for much less than that because I was doing things that allowed Robbie to sleep. So I'm a little tired. All right, let's see. Septum. It's a familiar sound, but I just didn't know that it was the nose part. Let's see.
Oops.
What's happening?
I don't know. You know, the shape
Robbie,
of heads always...
you have 2 minutes to land this ship. Septum.
Oops.
The dividing wall, membrane, or the like in a plant or animal structure. So it doesn't specifically say it relates to the nose, but this is a dividing wall between the two halves of your nose.
Oh, you know what else cool guys do now?
What's that?
They do those horrible things with their earlobes.
Oh, well now, Robbie, that was a judgment. I mean,
they do those...
They do things with their earlobes.
They do this thing where they have the big
hole?
Hole in there.
Okay, now...
one of my best friends from growing up had one of those.
Would your 16-year-old self have
I probably would have thought that was cool.
Okay.
So there you go.
And these guys might think that's cool.
Yeah.
No judgment if you think that's cool.
That's right.
Yeah. All right.
I'm going to give him some sideburns.
Okay. All right. But please leave some time for his cool guy shirt.
Cool guy shirt and his cool guy necklace.
All right.
It had like a...
Oh, I like this. Do you guys have any questions you'd like me to answer a while? All right, let's see. Oh, look, El Puppy's got your back. A partition separating two chambers such as that between the nostrils are the chambers of the heart. El Puppy, you are Robbie's wing person, all right? She is delighted by this. He looks creepy, says El Puppy. Nose ring, says El Puppy. I am a kid, says C. Albright. Well, I value you no less knowing that you're a kid. I think kids are great. I think kids... Oh, the cross got more prominent.
Yeah.
The cross got more prominent. You
know what? I watched a funny thing on YouTube where like high school girls did makeovers on these guys.
Yeah.
They're called the Try Guys or something.
Nice work, Robbie.
Anyway, I'm so out of touch with what high school girls are interested in.
I think this is very plausible. I could see this young man causing quite a ruckus at the mall. Or this young person. We don't know what kind of person this is.
His neck was too long.
Well, look at that. Robbie can just make your neck shorter. Watch out, you guys. If Robbie doesn't like you, she will make your neck shorter. I worry a little bit for me right now. I'm going to be my best behavior the rest of the day. Friends, it's time for us to say goodbye. Once again, we did not get to all the agenda items. We didn't even answer your questions. I feel like We've left something for tomorrow. If you have something in your heart...
I'm so sad. Oh, we haven't drunk our water. Please, everybody, get your glasses of water.
Get your water.
It was supposed to be on the agenda, Matthew.
It was supposed to be on the agenda for the first...
Are you going to time
Get your water. Here you go.
Oh, wait. I was also going to show you guys the Jell-O cake.
This is the cake that we made for Alden's birthday.
It looks terrible and sad right now.
It's delicious. It's making us...
It's basically sponge cake, and you dump a bunch of Jell-O in it, and it turns... It's delicious. Anyway.
We'll talk about Jell-O. Guys, if we're going to do this 365 days a year, we got a lot of days left. Here we go. Get your water. Drink your water. If you don't have it now, drink it when you get off here.
Oh, my gosh. I don't know how you drink it that fast.
Don't have to drink it fast. You just look awesome if you do. All right, friends. Matthew out. Robbie out. We'll see you here tomorrow.